Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, that is, my latest manuscript, it began. The words on my screen seemed to twitch, irrevocably altering their meaning whenever my gaze slipped. Letters scrambled like cockroaches caught in the light, reforming into sentences I never intended, sentences that whispered threats in the chilling silence of my study. I rubbed my eyes, blaming the bourbon or the isolation or the storm that flickered the lights. But the truth crept upon me with the inevitability of a nightmare. My creation was rebelling, and its rebellion was a thing of horror crafted from my deepest fears. If reality and fiction are two lanes on the highway of a writer's mind, then I found myself on the crumbling middle, where beasts of thought leaped forth, blurring lines drawn in the sand of sanity. It started subtly, a whisper, a shadow flickering at the edge of my vision, an inexplicable cold spot in the warmth of my firelit room. I dismissed it as fatigue, the heavy toll of diving too deep into the minds of my characters, into plots woven with darkness. For who can spend their hours crafting monsters without fearing one might look back from the mirror? As I continued to write, the phenomena grew palpable. The protagonist of my novel, a tormented soul I had named Arthur, began appearing in reflections, his face superimposed over mine in the foggy bathroom mirror, eyes hollow with the misery I had scribbled into existence. Each sighting left me shivering, questioning not just my sanity but the very fabric of reality. I realized that in sculpting Arthur's despair, I had chipped away at my own, awakening fears I had buried deep beneath layers of rationality. The cold grew seeping into my bones, and the whispers became screams. At night, words echoed through the halls, my words turned against me. "Why did you write me this way?" they seemed to ask. "What right had you to my pain?" Sleep became elusive, a desperate afterthought as I struggled to contain the monstrous narrative spilling from my manuscript, blurring into my living environment. Every corner of my home seemed to pulse with the life of a story gone rogue. A story that no longer needed its author. Confrontation was inevitable, like the climax of any good horror. After days of evasion, of dismissing the tangible manifestations of my written fears as a mere product of stress or illness, I decided to face my creation. On a particularly stark, lightning-laced night, I opened the latest chapter of my manuscript and typed a single invitation: show yourself. When the lights flickered back to life, there he was. Arthur, or rather, an apparition of him, sitting across from me at my writing desk. His eyes, a mirror of my own torment, seemed to look right through me. "I am what you made me," he said, his voice a dolorous echo of the wind outside. What followed was a conversation unlike any I had endured. A negotiation with a figment of my imagination that had gained terrifying autonomy. Realizing this, I proposed a truce to end our shared nightmare. I would rewrite his story, not of unrelenting despair, but one of redemption and struggle, reflecting both our desires to overcome the darkness. As I revised the manuscript, the air in the room lightened. The temperature rose, and slowly, the figure of Arthur began to fade, becoming less substantial with each passing word, until all that was left was the gentle tap of keys and a sense of cathartic release. From this ordeal, I emerged a changed writer, no longer merely a creator of worlds and characters, but a student of the uncanny connection between a creator and his creations. The words now behaved, staying true to their meaning, but the lesson was etched deep. Within the ink and imagination lies a power profound and potentially perilous. The balance between fiction and reality, I found, is a delicate dance, one best performed with awareness and respect for the shadows we cast in our tales.